What's up guys, Wolf here bringing you a brand new Fast and Furious car remake. In today's remake, I'm bringing the 2001 Nissan Silvia S15 Spec-S from the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Now this was a highly requested car by a lot of people, and I will put those on screen as much as I can right now. So thank you very much for everyone that requested this car. I think it looks great. And we're using the Remus here, of course. And I believe there is another car in the actual game files that is going to be dropping in the DLC, in the tunables here in a little bit for this build. But I am going to recreate with this for now. I did build an LG version as well, but it didn't come out looking as close as this did. So I'm just going with this one. I am just going to go with this one, and I think this is the best option. So as you can see, this is the Mona Lisa, or the S15 that Sean drives, that Han lets him drive against, DK or Takashi, and he just completely obliterates and destroys this car. But at the very end of the movie, they take the RB26 and actually put it into his Mustang, or his dad's Mustang. So, anyways, we're gonna start off with the base price. So you want to go to the internet. You want to go up to the travel and transport website. You want to go down to the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website. And then you want to go down and find the Remus, part of the Los Santos Tuners update. Now, if you don't have the trade price, you're going to be paying $1,370,000 for it. If you do have the trade price, it's going to be $1,027,500. So it's almost under $1 million for this car if you had the trade price. I believe it's personally worth it. You can create some nice builds with it. Two that come to mind, the very first one is Letty's 240SX. Yes, I know the car is based on, an S13 and not an S15 or, a 240SX or whatever, but it is the closest design you can come up with other than using the LG Retro Custom that most people use for the builds. But yeah, you can come up with the Mona Lisa build and Letty's build. Letty's build is on my channel if you guys want to go check that out. Link will be down in the description below if you want to click on that, or if you just want to go and find the playlist and find it, or on my channel, it should be on there somewhere. Anyways, let's get your color, get your car, and meet me at the Los Santos car meet location. Pretty much where I'm doing all my builds anymore, so people can come over, watch me build this, watch me go over it, be in the video, and just be part of the family. And I will say that if you guys check out my channel, join the crew, subscribe to my channel, anything, that I'm affiliated with or, associated with, and you support me 100%, all I can say is welcome to the family. It's my new saying, so get used to it. Let's go customize this car. So Nissan Remus is in the sports category. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Two-door sports car based on an S13. And I did build this car with Letty's build as well, and I think it turned out pretty decent. Custom crew color for that. This one does not have a custom crew color, mainly because I don't think I really need it, and I think I can create a decent build without that. So there you go. So as I go over all my builds, I go over the overall look, the visual appearance, and the basic design, the car, and how it's portrayed in the movie, game, or anywhere else in general itself. And that I don't go over is completely up to you. I just put a few staples in. If you want to recreate my build or recreate something similar to this and add it to other builds, then you just want to follow what I do for this build. So without further ado, let's just get into the build. So to start things off, we're going to go to the bodywork. You want to remove that trim. You don't want that nice black line across it. I also removed it for Letty's build. The doors, the side and all that was all pretty much one solid color. So you don't want to, mess that up by putting a black strip down it. From there, you move on to the bumpers. You want to go to the front bumpers. You want to put on the tuner bumper. Now, I think this fits the best. It has kind of like the same style or same look to it as the actual one from the movie. Again, picture will be on screen. And I believe it just looks the best. After that, move on to the rear bumpers. You want to put the sport bumper on. Now, if you don't want to spend the money, I can understand. You could also keep the stock bumper. But if you look, the bumper kind of sticks out or juts out a little bit, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it too well from this angle. No. As you can see from this angle, it kind of juts out a little bit. If you look through the the picture and everything. So that's why I went with the sport bumper. It kind of makes it a little bit more flush. It also adds a little bit more of a back kind of like body kit bumper to it. And unfortunately, the exhaust kind of don't fit too well for this. I guess they're not terrible, but this is the one I chose as the sport bumper. From there, we move on to the engine. Now, this is what I found out what was in the engine. So this is what I built. Again, we don't really see what was technically in the engine until like at the very end, even though it actually didn't have an RB26 in it. So this is what I came up with. Again, you can create what you want, but this is again what I came up with. So for the air filters, I went with stock, kept them stock. They have like the side piece right there, as you can see in the picture. After that, move on to the engine block. Went with the polished valve covers. I think this is the best option because it was, well, if you look for the picture, you can actually see this look like this. So there you go. After that, move on to the cam cover. I went with the polished cam belt cover. I think this fits the best as well. Again, you know, it's all pretty much chrome or like a polished type design to the engine style. So there you go. After that, move on to the strut brace. I went with the polished strut brace. I think it had a decent looking strut brace. And for the intercoolers, I kept that stock as well. You couldn't really see the intercooler. I don't even think it really had one in the movie, but yeah, you can't really see it anyways, and that's why I kept it stock. I didn't see the point in spending money on one. Now, if you guys know it did have one, or if you know which one it was, which one it would be designed mostly like, let me know, and I will be sure to put the top pin comment, you know, with the fixes in there. I don't take credit for any fixes unless I find them myself. If you guys find out and you let me know, and guess what? You're getting the, you know, the credit. I'm not getting the credit. I want to give credit where credit is due. I don't like taking credit if I don't do the work for it. So there you go. From there, move on to the exhaust. I put on the big bore exhaust, the nice chrome tipped exhaust. Unfortunately, just like Letty's build, it should be a single exhaust, but no, it's a double. And of course, you have no option to put on a single unless you put on the Shakatan exhaust, which is not right at all. So I just go with the big bore. I think they fit the best. Again, it is double, but you gotta take where it hits where you can get them. So either take it or leave it. If you don't want to build the car, then I guess don't be watching the video. But if you do want to build the car, this is the best choice for it. From there, move on to the fenders. I kept with the stock front and rear fenders, mainly because the fenders, they add like a little bit extra onto the body kit, you know, little vents and such. Also, they add bolts. This car was nice, clean, and smooth, and it didn't really have too much of a wide body to it. Maybe a little bit, but like we can't do that to this car, so I personally just kept with both stock. From there, move on to the grille. I actually got rid of the grille. Now, in one picture I'm going to show you, it's pretty much open. It's just kind of like dark in there, so you can't see. Another option I would say is either keep with the stock or possibly you can go with the emissive grille. Not really sure what the difference is between the two, but me personally, I just went with the grille delete. From there, move on to the headlight covers. I kept them stock, you know, and you don't change the colors of them, so just keep them nice and stock. After that, move on to the hood. Go to the hood, and we just keep that stock too. A nice smooth hood for the most part. We can't really put like a nice clean smooth hood on there, but you know, it is a somewhat smooth hood. It's about as smooth of a hood as you can get anyways. From there, move on to the interior. Now, this is what I found out what was on the interior, so stay with me here. For the dash, I went with the semi-stripped interior. It was pretty much, you know, stripped out on the interior. It didn't have back seats. It didn't have, you know, it didn't have like this big fancy stuff here, like all these gauges and everything. So just kind of keep it like a stock dash for the most part, but it also cleans out the interior. So it's, you know, drift builds are pretty much, you know, they take out as much weight as they can for the most part. From there, move on to the dials. You want to go with the Tasho and dash gauges. Now, the main reason I say this is because they have gauges on the sides and such, and they didn't have like big, you know, gauges like this sticking up. They didn't have the boost gauges. So I put one on the actual middle of the steering wheel here, and I also put a few over on the dash over on there. Again, this is also what I came up with for my LG build, so pretty much everything you see on this is pretty much going on to the LG build as well. So there you go. After that, I move on to the doors. I went with the aluminum race door cards, mainly because, again, it was stripped out, and the doors were pretty much all, you know, basic aluminum, or, you know, I would say stripped down to basic metal. After that, I move on to the seats. I went with the painted tuner seats, mainly because the race seats that were in the car were Recaro seats. The, you know, the holding area for the part of the car, the seat was actually up towards the window, like the top of the window, and they were black and everything. You could go with the ballistic fiber sport seats, but you need the straps because, you know, Sean does put some straps on. They look kind of like a green or maybe like a camo of some sort. So the ones I went for were the painted tuner seats. I think they fit the best. They're also the cheapest. And if you want to spend a little bit more money, you could go with the ballistic fiber tuner seats. But I just think that the painted tuner seats look, you know, they work fine. From there, we move on to the steering wheel. I went with the Sprint Basic. Didn't have any NOS buttons on it or anything. It's just pretty much a basic Sparco steering wheel. So there you go. Of course, it was 3-pronged, by the way, as you can see. After that, we move on to the roll cage. I went on put on the dash dodger cage. Now, unfortunately, the roll cage in the actual movie was like a bare metal, like aluminum or metal or something like that. So, sad thing is, the roll cage for this car is painted compared to the primary and the secondary colors. So, I mean, this is the best option I could go for. It doesn't look great from the outside. I wish it was like aluminum or metal or something. But, I mean, it's better than nothing. If you want to add nothing, you're more than welcome to. But I'm just trying to go for what pictures I'm going to be showing you on screen, as well as, you know, information on the car. So there you go. You'll see pictures of Sean, and you'll see, I'll try to point out the actual roll cage so you guys can see that as well. So there you go. After that, move on to the lights. You want to go to headlights, and you just want to keep them stock. Don't waste your money on xenons or white lights or any other kind of different color. Just keep them nice and stock, and just make it a nice old car, which is pretty much what it was. I guess, you know, 2001 it wasn't really that old, but still. From there, move on to the neon kits. Neon layout's going to be none. Again, just like the Takashi build. Most drift builds don't have neon on because if they crash, they could destroy it, and, you know, they would have to fix it. You'll also have to fix the wiring and all that, and it would just cost a lot more money than what they're worth. Most of the time, drift builds are pretty much stripped out for the most part. That's why Han stripped out the interior of this one. So, yeah, I mean, they don't have too much going on for them. Just a lot of performance-wise modifications, I would say. After that, move on to the livery. Now, you could put no livery on if you don't want to put one on. I can understand that. But it did have a little bit of white text on the side. Again, I will try to show that as best I can. But, so, I went for the shopping list white. I believe I did this for the white RX-7 as well. I did the shopping list black, I believe. But I think the shopping list white kind of gives a little bit more, you know, design to the car than just having nothing. And, you know, I just think it kind of fits it a little bit better. Kind of gives you a better idea of what it could be as well. But you see these colors, you probably know what it is. So, there you go. After that, move on to the plate. You want to put on a blue and white 3, and the custom plate you want to put on, if you can do custom plates, is 1021. Again, it is 1021 or 1021. So that is the custom plate that's actually on the car in the movie. And me personally, I think it would fit really cool if I could put those on. Unfortunately, my plates are still not working. I tried resetting them, as I said in the Takashi build, and it just doesn't work. So you probably won't see any more custom plates from me on my cars, which makes me sad because I did enjoy doing that. And even though it spent like $100,000, the car looked a little bit more accurate and you can know what it is then. But sadly, I just keep my drift plate on anymore, or my tuner plate, or classic, or volt. So, yeah. Those are the ones I have. From there, we move on to the roof. Same reach break for last. We move on to the roof accessories. You just want to put none. Didn't have an antenna or roof fins or vortex generators or anything like that, so don't worry about changing that or adding that. From there, we move on to the roof itself. You just want to keep it stock. Didn't have no roof scoop, which is good, or anything of these weird things here. So yeah, just keep it nice and stock, nice and clean on top. From there, we move on to the skirts. You want to put on the tuner skirts. The skirts kind of give the car a little bit more definition because they stick out a little bit, plus they have like the bar design on the bottom, if you know what I mean, like the box or rectangular design. As you can see, compared to this, like you see the design added, and that's what you want for the car. You want to add a little bit more flair to it, and it is pretty much basically on the car in the movie. So there you go. After that, we move on to the sun strips. I put on the carbon sun strip mainly because the car in the movie had a white sun strip. Unfortunately, we cannot do that because the primary and the secondary colors are blue and orange. So, I mean, the next best thing compared to none would be like a black one, personally. Again, if you don't want to put one, you don't need to, but it kind of covers up that, you know, roll cage that you shouldn't be able to see technically, but it's still there, so. And it gives the car a little bit more definition as well. From there, we move on to the spoiler. I went with the drift wing. Now, is that a little bit ironic? Yes, to an extent. The wing was a little bit wider than the car. It was also spaced out on the trunk pretty well, and it did go up to a decent height and had almost the same design as this. Sad thing was, it was, I believe, color-coded to a blue. It wasn't carbon or metal or aluminum or whatever. So, again, that's the best choice you can go for, other than having like an orange wing, which is not what you want to go for. So I went with the drift wing. I think it's the best choice. If you guys find a better choice, let me know down in the comment section down below. I'll check it out. Compare it to mine, compare it to the pictures and the video, and you may see a change on it, or you may not. Who knows? After that, move on to the suspension. I went with the lowered suspension. It wasn't lowered too much. I wouldn't say a street suspension. I would say lowered is the most you could go for. and it just kind of works pretty well. I'm going to show some pictures so you guys can see the car when it's lowered, and it just looks pretty well, I think. I'll try to go this way so you guys can see it. I think they're loading it up onto a trailer or something. After that, move on to the trunk. You want to keep that stock. Didn't have a sticker bomb or a carbon trunk, so don't worry about adding or changing that. After that, move on to the turbo. You do want to add a turbo. I believe it was turbo tuned. Yeah, I mean, in the movie it definitely sounded like it was. That could just be sound effects, but I mean, in real life it might not be. But I believe it probably was turbo tuned, so I would definitely add the turbo tuning. From there, we move on to the wheels. You want to go to wheel type. You want to go to the sport category. And you want to go down to the chrome rims, and you want to find the Duper 7 rims. Now these are the rims I think fit the best. I believe I put these also on my Eclipse, for Brian's Eclipse in the first movie. And it just, I think they fit the best. They're 7-spoked, they are pure chrome, and they have the same kind of design as the ones in the movie. Sad thing is the actual like outline of the rim or so should be like a little bit more sunken in. Like they should have a different design to it. Again, I'll blow a picture of the wheel up if I can on screen so you can see it. And if you find one that works a little bit better, let me know. There are tons of rims in the game now, and a lot of people go for different ones, but I mean, I try to stick to the same amount of spokes, same color, and the same kind of look to them. So there you go. That's what I try to stick for my builds. From there, move on to the wheel color. You can't do that because it's chrome, so don't worry about changing that. After that, move on to the tires, tire design. There's no custom tires, so don't worry about adding that. From there, move on to the tire enhancements. You either want to add low grip tires or standard tires. I wouldn't add bulletproof tires, but again, you can add them if you wish. More realistic if you don't. I say low grip tires because, well, Sean was trying to drift it, and it was a drift build, but unfortunately he was not capable of giving or pulling out the full potential of the car. So yeah, your choice on these two. And then tire smoke is going to be white tire smoke. Last before the respray is windows, and again, just like Takashi's build, I would either go with a light smoke for the darkest part or a none. I actually went with a light smoke on this one, mainly because it kind of tints out the roll cage that you shouldn't be able to see, and it shouldn't be the same color as the car, but it is. And it just gives the car a little tiny bit more flair. Plus, again, the color filter in the movie, most likely they didn't have tint on the cars, but with the color filter, they do. So it's a hard thing to figure out and judge. But again, for most builds, drift builds, I don't think they would tint the windows. It would cost too much to pay for them if they crash, like Sean was doing left and right. Anyways, yeah, light smoke or none is my two best options. Don't go for like a Just Jake and go, oh no, you gotta limo it out, mate. You got. I'm sorry. Anyways, I will see you guys in 2 seconds with a rolled steel primer color. All right, and we're back. As you see, I have my car, my primered out rolled steel. Pretty much what I always do for all my builds. You know, if it's an LSC color, custom crew color. That way, if I say, oh no, it's an LC color, but it's actually a custom crew color, so you guys have to join the crew, become part of the family, and you can do the custom crew color, or look at the description for the RGB and or hex code down in the description below. There you go. And I mean, it's just, well, this time it's an LSC color, so it's an easier build for you guys most of the time. I know a lot of people probably complain about the custom crew colors, but I mean, I like doing them because I like making my cars as accurate as possible. For this time, it's an LSC color, so you want to go to the primary color, you want to go down to the metallics, and you want to go down and you want to find the blues. Now, the top part was blue, the bottom part, or like the stripe was green or orange. Sorry. So there you go. You want to put that blue on right there. Gives it a nice blue shine to it, and it kind of fits the car really well. After that, we move on to the secondary color. You want to go down to a classic, and you want to go down to the oranges, and you just want to put on a classic orange. So just a classic blue and a classic orange. So now that we have the two colors on, which is pretty much the basic orange and blue, which, the orange was the stripe, and the blue was pretty much the basic color of the car. What you want to do is you want to go in and check and make sure the pearlescent isn't overpowering the orange too much, and you want to add a little bit more shine to it, which I think it is good right now, but I'm not sure. So we're going to go into the primary color, we're going to go into the pearlescence, and you want to make sure it is a surf blue, which it is right now. So the surf blue is the best option. You're probably thinking, well, why don't you put like an ultra blue on, make it really blue? Well, if you do that, it actually shines blue on the orange, and it just puts a really weird hue on it, like a really weird shine. And you really don't want any kind of shine on the orange. As you can see, like if I go like this, you can see the blue kind of go on the orange a little bit. I mean, it shines like that. If you go to the surf blue, it'll kind of shine on the orange, but the orange will shine like a lighter orange, if that makes any sense. So the blue will shine a lighter blue, as well as a dark blue, and then the orange will shine like a darker orange with a little bit of like a shine of a lighter orange on there. If you add any other colors, like blue, you can actually see the color changing quite a bit. So if we go up to, let's say, just adding a regular blue, it's a little bit too dark, and in certain lighting in certain areas, mainly in your garage, you'll be able to see the blue actually come through on the orange, and you don't want that. Plus, you want it to be a little bit more bright, so the best two options I could find is either like a surf blue or possibly even, I think, a nautical blue, but I went with the surf blue. I think it looks the best, and again, if you guys figure out a better option, you can let me know. I just want to use an LST color for this. I think it didn't really need a custom crew color, but, you know, to each his own. So tell me what you guys think of the color combination, the pearlescent and all that. And like I said, I try to make sure that the pearlescent doesn't shine on parts that it doesn't need to shine on, like the sunstrip, the orange. You don't want the blue shining on the orange. That does not look right, and that does not how, you know, colors shine on colors. So there you go. From there, move on to the trim color. You put on a graphite, pretty much what I'm gonna always do for most of my builds anymore. I think they start with like a black or dark steel. So I would definitely go with graphite. It's just pretty much my basic go-to color for the interior color. And, you know, the seats were black and all that, so you do want to make sure they're a decent black. After that, we move on to the accent color. Now, apparently there's a, I would say probably like a pure white on the accent color. Now, you're probably wondering, how do you know that? Well, if I go back and I go back into the accent, if you go into the accent and you have one of these colors equipped, it'll show that it's purchased. So if I go in the trim color and you see the little car icon by the graphite, that means it's purchased on that color. But if I go to the accent color, it shows no colors purchased, and here is an ice white. But it doesn't, like, you don't see it on ice white. There's no color to it. It usually would go right to the color that it is. And if I go through all the colors, as you can see, none of the colors are matched with the little icon. So, I mean, as of right now, whatever color it comes stock with, I would just go with that. But if you don't have, if you already have a different color on yours, I would go with probably like an ice white. And that is it. That is how you recreate the 2001 Nissan Silvia S15 Spec-S that Sean drives, thanks to Han letting him borrow it or use it, to race DK in the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and he just messes it up. Later on, takes the engine of the RB26, which is actually not really in the car, and puts it into his dad's Mustang and races DK and wins. And it's overall a great movie. Apparently at the box office it didn't do too great, but you know, as time goes on, the movie does better and better. So there you go. And you know, it's more, I would say, more enjoyable for me because again, they're still sticking to the street race area. Like you got, you know, Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift, and then I would say Fast and Furious, the fourth one, is pretty much the ending of, you know, the street race era. I mean, I think the car turned out pretty decent. I wish the roll cage was a different color. I wish we had better rims. I wish we had a decent livery that we could actually use well, and a better wing that was maybe color-coded, if anything. I mean, other than that, I'm fairly happy with the build. So let's go back to our parking spot. Alright, as you can see here, we're in our parking spot, so I'm going to pull up the phone. Let's see, it is 9:29, so we should be able to go outside. I'm going to make sure I'm in passive so I don't get blown up. We're just going to exit the LS car meet. Well, it looks like it's nice and rainy, but it is still I'm still able to turn and show you this color real quick. So there you go. I hear a lot of explosions for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think there's too many people in this lobby. No, 8 people total, so don't know what's going on. Unless somebody's doing Headhunter, which could be a possibility. So there you go. There's the car in all its glory. I know a lot of people requested it, and I believe I did put those on screen already, so. Now this car is not lowered. Like, it's not lowered in the menu, it is just normal. With the low grip tires and it raining, it makes it really hard to actually normal drive it, so. If you guys want me to try to come up with a drift build for this, or drift modifications that you can do to it, let me know. Kind of like how I did for the ZR380 for Takashi's build back in the old days. I could do that possibly, but I mean the newer low grip tires and changes that they made to the game for the tuners update is, yeah, it's a little hard to understand at times. I still would have to play around with it a bit. I do miss drifting. I gotta get back into it, but other than that, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap up the video. So as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down in the comment section down below for what build you want me to try out next. Just one, guys, just one. And you know, I'll look over it, let you know if I can build it already, if it's already built and waiting to be recorded, or if it is a good idea and I may build it in the future. So stay tuned for more videos. You know, if you guys are new, I do appreciate every single one of you guys checking out the videos, checking out the channel, supporting me in any way, whether it's a like, a comment, a subscribe, telling people that, you know, you should go check out this guy, or go check out this guy, or, you know, things like that. And I really enjoy, you know, commenting back to you guys. I try to get back to every comment that everyone makes, but unfortunately I kind of skip some, I think, at times, but it's not my fault. YouTube doesn't notify me of them right away. So if I miss you, I apologize, but I don't mean to. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for all the support. Thanks for being part of the family if you are part of the family, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.